So we find ourselves to the south of Sunfall one more time. There was something we were going to take care of last video, but we kind of got sidetracked with a pretty long side quest. So for now, we are heading to a little port city to the south of Sunfall to see if we can't find that healer for the little girl from the tent city. And I figure before we actually get to the Zero Dawn facility that we're after, we should probably take care of that.
Time to get off this thing.
So there isn't really a whole lot to see at Blazon Arch. It's pretty much just a port with not even a whole lot of people. I'd say a vast majority of the people here are just guards, so there's really not many people to talk to. So we're really only ever going to be here for this healer.
Are you Galeev, the healer?
I had planned to spend the day gazing at the lands of my exile and feeling sorry for myself, but you're not from Sunfall, so this could be interesting.
I came from the tent city there. There's a sick girl. Her brother told me about you.
The answer is no.
What?
No, I can't spare the medicine, nor my time to administer it. My resources are already spread thin, thin as the soiled cloths I have to use for dressings.
Why won't you help?
Look at it from my perspective. What meager goods I can get must be smuggled in. That's expensive. The behemoth's share goes to the military. Of course, there are the demands of the citadel. Helis' kestrels are so prone to sticky ends. What's left, that's for the nobles, who can pay well for my services.
Look at it from my perspective. A little girl is sick.
I think we're calling to each other across an ideological impasse.
What's stopping me from just making you do it?
I'd have to cause a situation. And you wouldn't harm the only healer disgraced enough to work for the Shadow Carja, would you?
Well, we've only just met, but yes, it's tempting.
And take it up with the Citadel. They decide who lives and dies. Nothing you can do would compare to my punishment if I use the last of my stock on a tent girl.
You're kind of an ass, healer.
There's no cure for a conscience, but in this line of work, I've built up an immunity to it. And yet, if you feel so strongly about this one girl, perhaps we can make a deal. My charity for a Thunderjaw heart.
That's not how charity works.
It is how deals work. You'd settle my debts. For a while.
Those parts aren't exactly easy to come by.
As it happens, a Thunderjaw prowls the Valley of Omens, north and west of here. I know it well because they expect me to put its victims back together. Runaways, mostly.
If I do this, it's not for you.
Oh, I'm not expecting you to do it at all. But I'll be heading back to the Citadel later.
So if we just had a Thunderjaw heart, this would be a lot easier, and I think that guard was freaking out a little bit. But this Thunderjaw that he's directing us towards, it's a guaranteed drop, so, I mean, we can just head over there and get it anyway.
This has to be the place. The Thunderjaw shouldn't be hard to find. Just hope I see it before it sees me.
So thankfully there's nothing very special about this Thunderjaw, it's just an ordinary fight. So as per usual, we're going to take care of those disc launchers first. Or at least I'm going to try to. So that's one disc launcher down. And that's the other. So now that he's behind that ridge, now's a pretty good time to go after one of the launchers that fell. So even though we did stun him and knock him over, I'm not really sure if you can even do a critical strike like this on a Thunderjaw. I mean, I'm sure it would be really hard with this one since he was like half floating off of the incline that he fell onto. But that's it for the disc launcher, so now we're just going to resort to ordinary weapons. And there we go. Not that bad. And there's even a metal flower around here. So really, the trip was worth it.
Lucky me.
And on top of the mandatory Thunderjaw heart we actually got a second one. Which is maybe a little concerning. It's certainly maybe not outside of the realm of possibilities for a machine to have 2 hearts, but that seems like a bit of an oversight. Whatever cauldron that thing came from is going to have to redo a lot. But we're back at the tent city and back with Galeev.
I have your machine part. A deal's a deal. See to the girl, and it's yours.
On my oath. But tell me, if this girl survives, what do you suppose is her future?
It's better than not having a future at all.
What a charming notion. Come, let's be quick about this. Kindness doesn't keep well in the heat.
So this little side quest is all but completed. All we have to do is go over and watch him do his thing.
Jiran is murdered, and the derangement gets even worse? You can't convince me that's a coincidence.
It's you. Hello again.
I've brought someone to see your sister.
How did you... What did we do to deserve... No, wait. I don't even want to ask, in case a shadow passes over and it's gone.
Smart boy.
She'll have his full attention, won't she?
Once I'm freed of other distractions, yes.
So we have fully completed the side quest, but if we stick around, we can hear a little bit of extra dialogue.
What's she called?
Shiana.
I knew a Shiana once. She sang in a tavern. How is your sister's singing voice?
She likes ball games. She wants to be a soldier.
That's a shame.
And, awkwardly, that's where the conversation ends. I'm pretty sure Galeev is just saying that's a shame because the Karja don't allow women into their military, but it's kind of weird how it just abruptly ends. Either way, with that completed, now that we are free of distractions, we can finally head over to that ledge with the missing railing and continue the main story. We just have to do one more little run through of Sunfall.
We can't even keep our Sun King safe. How do we expect to win a war?
So, Utamin's back in Meridian. At least one of us got to go home. Our hunger keeps us sharp.
And we can now hear how the radiant dialogue of this place has changed to talk about how Itamin has been taken. So everyone at Sunfall's not feeling too good.
The other side of the tower. Look for a vent.
I see you've been here before.
Obviously. Now, it's very important that you hear what I'm about to say. I've shown you the way in. but this humble vent marks a point of no return. Before you descend into the depths here, you should be fully committed, equipped, and focused. No distractions. If you have errands to run, do them first or hold your peace. I won't tolerate whining. Is that clear?
You'll tolerate what I give you, Silence. I didn't ask you along for the ride.
So Silence makes it sound pretty confidently like this is the end of the game, but it's not. There is something that will happen after this facility that we can't really control, but it's certainly not the actual point of no return.
I'm heading down.
I've spent a lifetime trying to uncover the secrets of this world. Where the machines came from. How the old ones achieved such marvels only to fall into silence and death. A lifetime of failure. As year by year, decade after decade, I hit walls I could not break, doors I could never breach.
Hello.
Until a Nora huntress marched out of the savage east. And voila, for her, all the deepest secrets of the earth were laid bare. I suspect you will have an easier time with this door than I did years ago.
Hold for identiscan. Genetic profile confirmed. Entry authorized. Malfunction. 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 Malfunction.
Are you kidding me?
You don't hear me laughing.
Shut up. There's gotta be another way. Hey! Elizabeth Sobeck here! Requesting access!
Access request acknowledged. Root command functions available. Do you wish to proceed?
I do! Get me through this door!
Analyzing. Primary access inoperable due to mechanical failure. Emergency venting procedure likely to circumvent blockage. Do you wish to proceed?
Yes.
Emergency venting authorized.
I underestimated you. I think by now
Guess you can't have everything.
that will draw attention. We won't have this place to ourselves for long now.
We? Last I checked, I was the one risking my life down here.
Yes, fine. Now will you please get moving? There's so much to learn in less time than I'd hoped.
Welcome to Project Zero Dawn.
Zero Dawn. We found it.
Are you really so surprised?
Facility diagnostics detect multiple failures. Attempting repair.
So, what was this room?
An entrance hall, perhaps. Have a look around.
So this facility is going to be filled with text logs and audio logs, so there's going to be a lot of listening to do. For instance, this text log describes how someone by the name of Popovich started getting really upset about something, and then throwing around chairs while screaming in Polish, except no one could understand what they were saying. This text log is pretty similar to the other one, basically saying how they need more resources to deal with anyone who becomes unruly.
Please take a seat and wait for your name to be called. A selection of beverages and snacks are available.
A smaller room.
So this facility is pretty large, in fact, but the first section of this is more like a lounge or a waiting room for people. And this text log here describes how apparently they ran out of herbal teas so quickly that a bunch of the smart people they brought in started getting upset.
Please proceed into viewing room 1 for an important message regarding the purpose of your visit.
And we'll get there, but the soundproofing text log describes how some people would start screaming or crying in the interview rooms, and that the people in the lounge or the waiting rooms could hear that.
What was this place?
A holographic theater.
ZD-01 data intact. Initiating playback.
Welcome to Project Zero Dawn. I am General Harris, Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff of the United States of America. I'm sure you've heard the rumors that Zero Dawn is a top-secret superweapons program, the technological miracle that will save us from the Pharaoh Plague, if Operation Enduring Victory can hold off the robots long enough. The reason I'm sure you've heard the rumors is that I'm the one who spread them, and they are all lies. Zero Dawn is not a superweapons program, and it will not save us. Nothing will save us. And here's why. By the time the glitch was noticed, it was already too late. Nothing could stop the Pharaoh Plague. Nothing can. Its robots will continue to replicate and devour the biosphere. Life on Earth will be destroyed. Our planet reduced to a barren sphere. Global extinction is inevitable. No matter how many we kill, the robots just keep exponentially making more. If we had their deactivation codes, we could shut them all down. The entire swarm. But since their cryptographic protocols use polyphasic entangled waveforms, cracking a code set would take half a century. At best, we've got 16 months. Not exactly what you'd call a survival option. The destruction of a biosphere is not the sort of apocalypse you can wait out in a fallout shelter or a space station. There will be no Earth left to reclaim. Just a lifeless, toxic rock with several million Pharaoh robots on it, hibernating, waiting for something to eat. This is the horrible truth behind the lies of Operation Enduring Victory. My lies. Lies designed to inspire millions of innocents to sacrifice themselves in battle. Why? One reason. To buy time for you and the work you will do here. Zero Day, the day that life on Earth ceases to exist, is coming fast. It cannot be stopped. The hope of Zero Dawn is that something new might come after. But I will leave it to Elizabeth Sobek to shine that thin ray of light into the darkness. Harris, out.
That doesn't make sense. Life on Earth didn't cease to exist.
He said it could not be stopped.
But it was. Somehow Elizabeth saved us. I've got to keep looking. Find out how she did it. Kestrels. They got in. Through the vents.
Let nothing stop you from learning the truth.
Spread out! If it moves, kill it!
What is this place? Tomb?
So we're going to take our time dealing with these Kestrels because there are about 6 audio logs in this room, and listening to them is going to take a bit of time. So we're going to make sure we have something to do while we're listening to them. So this first one is actually up this ladder, and is the most out-of-the-way one, so we'll take care of it first. These are all going to be interviews with candidates who have been chosen to join Zero Dawn.
There is some mistake. I don't understand why I was brought here. Why would you show me these things?
I know that there's already a lot to take in.
In the waiting area, I was seated with a Nobel laureate in biophysics and a monk, I think. He spoke neither English nor Mandarin. It is very strange. And General Harris? What was he talking about? The robot swarm, the Pharaoh Plague? I understand. But it really cannot be stopped? Why tell us this? There are people in Shanghai, my friends, my family. They have joined Operation Enduring Victory already. It is for nothing? We will all die?
We're going to be able to answer some of these questions.
I just want to know why I am here. It doesn't make sense to me.
You were brought here because of your skill set.
No, that can't be right. I am an art historian. I know Dutch masters, Japanese calligraphy, Gerhard Richter. What does that matter now?
So it seems that not just scientists were brought on for Zero Dawn.
You can see them. They can't see you.
So it's maybe a little strange, then. What is Zero Dawn, if not a way to destroy the machines that are threatening life on Earth?
Good. We're too close to let tribal primitives stop us now. The data points, what do they contain?
So we still have plenty of interviews left to go, so for the most part, as we stay in this room, it's just going to be us listening to them.
It is accurate, yes.
So these mechanical monstrosities, they don't just kill people, they feed off them?
Not just people, all organic matter.
Every living thing dissolved into nutrients. Millennia of evolution liquefied. The miracle of life reduced to bloody biofuel.
In a word, yes.
Who did this? Pharaoh? That arsehole. Is he here?
No, Doctor.
Please, tell him Tom Pake wants a word. Now, get off! Get off! Doctor, please! You get Ted Pharaoh in here!
I should also mention, in case you haven't already figured out, there's going to be a multitude of different accents.
Want to discuss?
Whew. So Mama, she was right.
Pardon?
My mother, she took her Bible real serious. Not just Texas Bible serious, Pentecostal serious. Favorite chapter? Revelations. Now, I didn't always understand her on account of all that speaking in tongues and such, but when she did use her words, it was always end times this and lake of fire that on account of sinful lifestyles. Speaking of which, mind if I smoke?
A tobacco cigarette.
Sorry, darling. My taste run classic. Compliments to your team tracked me down. Been a price on my head 18 months now. Sterling Malky was me, don't mind admitting. Been plenty of snakesters chasing the bounty too. But I kept the zigging to their zag. How'd you finger me?
I believe Dr. Sobek listed you as an alpha candidate. Priority snatch and grab.
Always suspected she had a little thing for me. Hey, I don't suppose you got real coffee in this place. You know, blood coffee? Conflict cappuccinos?
Mr. Tate, I'm clearing you to proceed. Just go.
So these initial interviews are actually only the first of two that we'll be hearing from these people.
You previously worked for Pharaoh Automated Systems.
On the chariot line self-replication routines. I came here thinking this was a rendition. When your people took me, I thought, about time. I've been trying to swallow the guilt every day since...
Would you like to take a moment?
No, I really hoped Zero Dawn was a way to undo it all. My work. And I'm sorry to say I was ever proud of it, but Ted could really sell a concept, and in the labs, in the light of creation, that first test run, when you saw they understood their own structures, could rebuild themselves from memory and light, there were no limits. God, there were no limits.
Look, let's cut the mystery. You're building a colony ship. It's obvious. And it's not gonna fly. I mean, literally. Remember the Odyssey? That multinational heap of space junk that's been in graveyard orbit since 57? That went nowhere real slow. And you have to get somewhere real fast. Do you have any idea the immensity of the challenge to prep a new colony ship in time?
To be clear, I'm not a worker on the project.
Do you even understand how few people it could save? The whole generation ship concept is not gonna happen. It's the first thing you'd abandon in favor of embryonics. For that kind of storage we're talking, a lot of bulk, a lot of power, a lot of resources. So even if you do it, even if you build it and point it at Sirius X, there's no room for people on that thing, all right?
If you could try to remain calm.
You people are crazy if you think you're getting off this rock. No one's getting off.
Medical.
So it seems that some people have the idea that they're trying to build a spaceship to leave Earth. I guess we'll find out if that's true.
I'm sure you now understand the urgency of why we brought you here, Ms. Okilo.
Captain Okilo, are you trying to thank me for not resisting?
I believe we couldn't negotiate a diplomatic solution.
When it came to my country's lithium, it was always a swarm that would be sent to negotiate. Metallurgic International, U.S. Robot Command. The markings changed, but the robots were the same.
You have had considerable experience in human-robot conflict.
Yes, and I've got the prosthetic limbs to show it. Yet I continue to face this horror, even though the challenge was great. Cyber warfare. I thought Zero Dawn would be a Manhattan project to generate the deactivation codes. With the resources I had, I estimated code breaking to be a hopeless endeavor. I was almost looking forward to being proved wrong.
Unfortunately, your estimation was correct.
As your General Harris said. So then, you did not bring me here to commiserate. What is left?
So we're just about done here, and this text log kind of gives the people doing the interviews a way to deal with people that get a little upset.
With Suzanne Alpert, environmental scientist. Doctor?
I'm sorry, I wasn't,
Just stating your name. What were you thinking about, Doctor?
Nothing the General said, not really. I was on the Syzygy East Response Team in 2051, just after the second earthquake compromised the reactor. I still dream about it, after all these years. The red zone spreading on the imaging, slowly, so slowly, like a hand opening its fingers.
Your involvement in that event is why you were asked for by name.
Really? That's interesting. Because nothing worked. Nothing could grow there again. It was a catastrophic failure. But the red zone is a blip compared to global-scale biomass reduction. The biosphere and hydrosphere will collapse, render the Earth uninhabitable long before the robots finish us. Enduring victory can't buy time against that. So, you'd better show me what Zero Dawn really is.
So, with that last interview, it's time to find out what Zero Dawn really is.
CD02 data intact. Initiating playback.
Elizabeth Sobek. You've heard the bad news, and it's all true. The Pharaoh Plague is devouring the biosphere. Life itself will cease to exist. But does that have to be the end? What if we could give life a future? What if we could build a kind of seed from which, on a dead planet, life could blossom anew? This is the aim, the hope, of Project Zero Dawn. To create a super-intelligent, fully automated terraforming system and bring life back from lifelessness. What would such a system require? At its core, it would need a true AI, fully capable of making the trillions of decisions necessary to reconstitute the biosphere. An immortal guardian, devoted to the reflourishing of life. We call it Gaia. Mother Nature as an AI. But that's just the core of the system. She will need to be surrounded and empowered by a comprehensive suite of subordinate functions. Think of them as extensions of Gaia's mind, each dedicated to a specific purpose. Now, these aren't AIs, but make no mistake, each presents an engineering challenge more profound than anything the human species has ever before attempted. Hardware that preserves and then gestates the billions of seeds and embryos from which life will be reborn. The construction of underground facilities to hold it all. And that's just the start. We don't have to build the entire system. The beauty of a fully automated terraforming system is that it can build itself. Now, over the days to come, you'll learn how all these functions, all these pieces that you'll be working on, fit together. How we'll race the clock to execute our harvest initiatives, write the software, build the tech and the facilities. How we'll lock it down and seal it up before the inevitable occurs. But even more important, you'll know how it doesn't end here. How Gaia will generate those deactivation codes General Harris talked about, and build the transmission arrays to broadcast them, shutting down the Pharaoh robots for good. How Gaia will not just build, but imagine any conceivable robot it needs to do its work across centuries. From detoxifying the Earth's ravaged atmosphere and poisoned seas, to the regreening of the Earth from cryopreserved seed stalks, to rewilding the Earth with animal life. And then, when all that is done, how a new generation of human beings, spawned at cradle facilities around the globe, will partake of Apollo, the vast archive of human knowledge and cultural achievement from which they will learn of us, our world. And most important, how not to repeat our mistakes. It's not an impossible dream. It is within our grasp if we work tirelessly and stop at nothing to achieve it. We can't stop life from ending. But if you will help me, help Gaia, we can give it a future. Join me and help make that future real.
Whole Earth destroyed, but then remade?
Yes. By a machine. A machine of creation.
Elizabeth did this. For life. For us. But why Hades then? If it was part of Gaia, how did it end up in the wreckage of a Pharaoh robot? Why does it want to kill me? And Apollo, the archive of knowledge, what happened to that?
I'm as confused as you are. Maybe the answers lie ahead.
So we've just found out a huge portion of what Zero Dawn is. But before we get there, there's still a few more interviews we have to go through, and this text log called Make Your Selection describes how there are 3 different things that people being brought to Zero Dawn can choose: participation, indefinite detention, and medical euthanasia. Because unfortunately, once they've learned about enduring victory, they're not allowed to leave.
Of course I'll do it. To be given the opportunity to rebuild what the damage that I don't feel worthy of it, but I will do it, absolutely.
I want to stress that this was never about your culpability.
It is to me. Dr. Sobek, Margot, they were smart to get out of Pharaoh when they did, but not one of us took it as a warning sign. It just told ourselves that we're cut out for the BTRI cabals. That's the better than rapid innovation. Better at competing, better than the next guy, a better killing machine. Isn't it just amazing how a century and a half of science fiction did nothing to swerve our species from the path of doom? I mean, I'm done with that life. I mean, I will work hard, twice as hard, to earn this, for my family to have a place in Elysium. I never thought that there could be atonement.
So those who choose to work on Zero Dawn all get to bring their families into what they end up calling Elysium, where they get to work on the project and live with their loved ones.
If you're still nauseous.
No, the inhibitors have kicked in. I can't feel the back of my tongue. I wish I could tell you I'd believe in this. But the damage is too great, too extensive, too complete. With all respect to Dr. Sobek's work at Miriam, no. No, life doesn't always find a way to keep going. Sometimes it never comes back. Like Syzygy East. Like the Congo. Like Timor. Like us. That's our reward? A buried city full of terminal patients waiting out the clock?
You'd grow old together, with your loved ones, in safety.
I don't have loved ones. I suppose I could start a family?
I'm afraid not. All inhabitants of Elysium will be medically sterilized. A habitat capable of sustaining a starting base of 2,000 individuals for up to 100 years is a huge challenge, Dr. Alpert. If the population grows instead of diminishes, everyone will be dead inside 30 years.
I knew it. I just couldn't bring myself to say the words.
I'm sorry.
Finish it. Medical euthanasia. I want no part of this. I just want it over.
I see. Protocols require a 48-hour waiting period, after which...
So it's pretty straightforward what some people will choose, but they are given about 2 days to rethink their decision.
Is he to make sure I behave this time?
Security. For your protection. Would you like to discuss how you're feeling?
Sure. I'll tell you. Surprised. No, flabbergasted. Like my own man would say, flabbergasted. That vein pumping in his forehead. I thought you people were just completely underprepared for a spaceflight project. But now I can see it's worse. Much worse. Sobek is a total fantasist, a dangerous fantasist. This kind of blue skying, it's... Jesus. I'm sorry we wasted each other's time. I'm ready to leave now.
I'm afraid that's not possible.
Everything you're talking about here isn't possible.
I recommend you read the documents regarding your options.
I've seen enough. I'm getting out of here. What are you... You don't... Get your hands off me!
So these interviews are here to give us a sampling of the people who chose each of the options.
Alert. Medical wing inaccessible.
And even though the medical wing is supposed to be inaccessible, there's actually a neat little collectible back here. So this is the second stranded object that we've gotten, the first one being at the Grave Hoard. And just like the last one, its icon is pretty familiar. So there are 3 stranded objects in the game, and we're actually pretty close to getting all of them. But we'll have to see what they do in the future. But one thing I did want to bring up from the revelation about Zero Dawn is that probably one of my favorite things about what Elizabeth told us is the secondary revelation we get that all of the machines in this game look and act the way they do because they have a purpose for reconstituting the Earth for human life.
Intruder! Get her!
I've been seen.
Whatever you do, don't die now.
Made it!
Power's down.
Is there another route?
I've done this before. Just need my focus.
Oh man, I am so sorry about that. That was unintentional. But we have a few more interviews back here.
Now, those lame FBI black hats at Mockingbird back in the day, I enjoyed schooling them. But maybe I went in too hard on this poor counselor. She was cute, and just going down a checklist after all. Couldn't expect her to see how ridiculous Zero D's ambitions are. God's own budget thrown at a kid playing with a hologram sculptor? Palms up, honey. I'm just calling it like it is. Hey, look, Mom, I'm making nature. Now, if nature is so important, why not let nature take its course? Extinction? That's natural. Zero Dawn? No, ma'am, that ain't. Heck, it's so unnatural to be called an abomination back home, and you know it. That's why you're hiding it. Meanwhile, my little honey of a counselor, she's munching the inside of her cheek. Bad habit. She chewed one of her nails, too, just one. Not your day, was it, little sweet pea? Saw her quota slipping away. Said, I assume you intend to decline the assignment, Mr. Tate. You kidding me? 18 months hard labor in exchange for 30 years lounging around Elysium watching porn? Sign me up.
Well, Travis has a weird way of looking at things, but this next audio log I accidentally stopped midway through, so you'll see a cut in the middle.
Zero Dawn. It is art, in a way. An expression on the grandest scale. But there is so much unfairness. Why was I chosen? Was it decided by committee? By algorithm? My family will be saved because I happen to graduate in art history? Is this right?
Dr. Sauvé? Christina Sauvé?
Yes. I met a man, another historian. His fields are Bauhaus and the New Materialists. But he once attended one of my talks. Another unfair chance. Of all the many people in that auditorium, that we should both be here now. And yet, I feel more accepting of my fate. No, it is not fair, not at all. But for the sake of my family, for the sake of art. Art is alive. It must be able to speak from beyond history and echo in the future, not perish into oblivion. This opportunity, I must do this.
So we have one last interview.
I hashed it out with them, what the point of Artemis was. I made it clear I wasn't on board for a global zoo. We haven't exactly proved ourselves to be great custodians in the past few thousand years. So the idea of a reconstituted biosphere, well, it's horrifying, isn't it? A complete horror show. We have no right to take a best guess at this stuff. But the alternative? Nothingness. For there to have been all this and then nothing. And with Charles Ronson running the show, I respect him. He's got a passion to him. He's hot-blooded. So I said I'll do it. I'll put my all into this, literally. When the project is done, I'll take the medical option, thank you. Counselor said I might change my mind. I told him that he didn't know me very well then. For life's sake, I'll do the dirty work. But I want no part of this pathetic, attenuated future on offer. I'm an outdoors man. Never did like the feel of solid-state lighting on my skin. And a wee bit of a claustrophobe, anyway.
So with all of the interviews done, you might actually be thinking that that's all this facility is. But we're barely halfway through. There's still a huge chunk of this facility that's actually what's dedicated to Zero Dawn.
Here we go. Another one of these. Need to find the right configuration.
But first, we actually have to get through the door. So this first configuration's really easy. We just follow what we saw on the wall.
Done. I should check the door nearby.
So there's another lock system on the opposite wall, but it's missing a lock, actually. So we need to go find a replacement. Thankfully, the replacement is very, very close by. It's actually in the same room, just on a ledge up above.
Found one. Looks intact. Looks like that part I found upstairs might fit here.
So as we put this lock in place, we'll find out that this one isn't quite as straightforward.
That should do the trick. Now let's get that door open.
Hey, I'm done with Brett's incompetence, okay? Somehow, he managed to install an H-emitter node backwards. Everything's in reverse. I don't get paid to clean up Brett's messes. If you want it fixed, send him up to storage for a new emitter, not me. Parker out. Hey, I'm done with Brett's incompetence, okay? Somehow...
So by reading the word Pharaoh there, you can see that it's upside down. So you have to tilt your head to be able to read the arrows correctly. It's not too hard, but it's pretty much, you just have to memorize it, because going back and forth each time is a bit of a pain.
That did it. Door should have power.
Now to see what lies beyond it.
And with that, we can finally check out the Zero Dawn facility.
Eclipse. They're here.
Avoid contact.
Lines look good.
Gaia. It's up there. Second floor.
Can you reach it?
So much for avoiding contact.
And it looks like before we can get to the actual facilities, we have a bigger firefight than we've had before. Although it might be a little misleading because, for now, there's only 3 people.
Introduced.
Thankfully, the blast sling is always fun when dealing with human enemies. So with those 3 down, the next couple are going to be rappelling down from the ceiling. There's also a pair of archers that are standing up on a ledge. They won't come down to fight us, so I'm going to have to take care of them separately, when I don't have to worry about the people on ground level with me trying to shoot me in the back.
I give from the shaft.
And oh good, they're using fire ammunition. Nothing a good blast sling shot won't fix though.
Get ready for the shadow.
That's the last of them.
Repeat.
Or not.
So the last group of Eclipse came through this door that was previously closed, so now we'll have a way forward, we just have to beat these guys up first. And now for the last guy.
Room's clear. For a moment, anyway.
Then get moving. You have to find Gaia.
And we will get moving, eventually. But as you've probably noticed, we're coming up on the end of the video. This facility is so large that we would be going at it for at least another half hour, and that's a bit too long for just one video.
I'd have to leave something else behind.
So next time we'll start investigating the actual facilities where the people of Zero Dawn worked on each of their little subsystems to help create Gaia. Until then, I'm just going to keep looting everything I find. But, coming up next, we'll find out just how the people of Zero Dawn managed to fix the Earth and save it from potential extinction.